All right, so you're thinking about moving to the Tuscaloosa area, and you're a little bit like me. You want to live close enough to the city that you can take advantage of everything that the city has to offer, but you kind of want to be on the outskirts of town. Maybe you want to be, not in a traditional neighborhood. So like we live on some land, we don't have neighbors to our left and right. We can, use a tractor out there. I can use a firearm if I want to. We can be as loud as we want to be and not have neighbors on top of us. So I'm going to show you a couple different school zones. We're just going to break it down by school zones. A couple school zones where, if that's what you're looking for, within a 30-minute commute of Tuscaloosa, where you can have that kind of lifestyle. I'm going to go through all those with you, and as always, feel free to comment below if you have any questions. All right, so the first area I want to tell you about is it's not actually another city, it's not another town, it's an area of Northport. So I live in Northport, and Northport is one of those, and every area, every school zone in town has parts of it to where if you want to live away from people, you don't want to have neighbors, you don't want to be in a traditional neighborhood, you can find that in every single school zone that's out there. But these school zones that I'm going to share with you today are going to be a lot more likely to find more of those type properties, and the area itself is going to be a whole lot more like that. So the first area I want to tell you about is North Side, okay? So North Side is not actually a city. Okay, you can't type in Northside, Alabama and it shows up. It's going to be Northport, Alabama. It might be Samantha, Alabama. It might be Berry, Alabama. Okay, but it's north part of Tuscaloosa County, more north west of Tuscaloosa County. And I think the reason that people like it up there, one of the main reasons, is the school zone. There is one elementary school, one middle school, and one high school. Now, it might not be that way forever, but for right now, your kids, in theory, could start elementary school there, and from elementary school all the way through high school, they're going to school with the same group of kids from every single grade, from elementary school to middle school to high school. Whereas some of the bigger school systems, when you get to middle school, it might be 3 or 4 elementary school zones all feeding in to that middle school, and then even more when you get into high school. So let me show you a little bit about the North Side area here on the computer. I'm going to give you a virtual tour and show you a little bit about North Side. All right, so just to be fair, we're going to start everything as if Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama's football stadium, is the center part of town, okay? It's not really the center of town, but for the sake of making it consistent across all the different areas we're going to talk about today, we're going to start off with this being the center of town. So let me zoom out just a little bit. Northport is on one side of the river, Tuscaloosa is on the other side of the river. So when you hear people talking about north of the river, this is what they're talking about, okay? So lots of folks live in this Northport area, even further out here. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. But when you get further north, okay, this is Highway 43. When you get further up Highway 43 and Highway 69, you'll run into Lake Tuscaloosa. Lake Tuscaloosa is our main source of water. It provides us over 40 million gallons of water every single day for Tuscaloosa residents, Tuscaloosa businesses. So about where the lake starts in Northport, from that point forward, from that point northward, is basically where the North Side school zone starts. So if you come up here, way past the lake, you get way up here, further and further and further up here, there's one main intersection in the North Side area. Let me put this on satellite so you can kind of see that. One main intersection right here, and over here you've got the elementary school, Walker Elementary, you've got the high school, and you've got, the middle school and the high school all here together. This should be the middle school. I don't know why it says high school on the map. Little football stadiums here. There are baseball fields. There's actually a little league, baseball league that plays in the spring and in the fall up there. You know, the great thing about once you get up there is no, there's just not a whole lot going on up there as far as intersections, as far as traffic. This road here, Highway 43, at this point is a 2-lane road, so 1 lane going north, 1 lane going south. You do have here at this intersection, you do have a couple gas stations, Pastor's Kitchen, which is a really popular Mexican food place in town. And I'll tell you a little secret about living in Alabama, probably in the Southeast in general, is some of the best food that you're going to experience is going to be at a gas station. So this Chevron Quick Shop, locals call it the Crossroads. They have really good food in there. You can grab something for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you know, on your way to work. If you live up this way and you're driving into town, you can stop there and grab you a biscuit, you know, whatever you want to get on the way to work. And then if you're up that way around lunch or on the weekend, they have food up there. There is a new Dollar General up here, but there are no grocery stores up this way. But if you're living up here, let me go back to the traffic view here. If you're living up that way and you're driving into town anyways, you're going to pass multiple grocery stores on your way. You can see further down Highway 43, below the lake, we've got Winn-Dixie. On the Highway 69 side, there's an almost new Publix supermarket, another Publix right here. There's actually another Winn-Dixie right about here. There's a Walmart neighborhood market about right here, kind of beside. There you go, Walmart neighborhood market, Walmart Supercenter. So there are plenty of grocery stores in the area. And once you get up in Northside, not a whole lot to pick from when it comes to groceries, when it comes to restaurants, all right? Big Al's Diner is another place up there that you can eat at. But, you know, if you're wanting to be on the outskirts of town, still be in a good school zone, but kind of live that country life, Northside would be an area that you would want to consider. All right, so Northside, obviously to the north. If you go out to the west part of Tuscaloosa County, there's 2 school zones I want you to know about. Number 1 is Sipsey Valley School Zone. So there's a middle school and a high school there out on the west part of Tuscaloosa County. But then if you go even further west and you cross over into Pickens County, there's a little town out there called Gordo. And both of those school zones, almost everywhere you would live out there is going to be within 30 minutes, give or take, of driving into town. So let me show you a little bit about those here on the map. All right, so again, starting from Bryant-Denny Stadium, we're going to zoom out. And again, both of these are going to be on the west part of Tuscaloosa County, on the north side of the river. So you would you could get there from the other side. As far as commuting goes, you could cross. You can actually take the interstate all the way out to Foster's and get off there and get out that way. Foster's is an area that is becoming more and more popular. Ralph is a little bit further out from there, but it's still, give or take, within about 30 minutes. And out here, really, this school, the Sipsey Valley High School, let me go to the satellite view. You can see here the middle school and the high school are both beside each other. So the high school's in the back, middle school is in the front. You can see the football stadium, baseball stadium right there. Really, really good school zone. It is part of the Tuscaloosa County school system, so you get the benefit of everything that comes along with that. As of right now, there's not a whole lot of development out here by this school, surprisingly. When they built the new Tuscaloosa County High in Tuscaloosa, there was not much up that way. Now there's a bunch of stuff up that way. But Sipsey Valley High School, Sipsey Valley Middle School, the school itself is kind of out in the country. There's not a whole lot around it. There's not really any restaurants out there. Not hardly any shopping out there. But if you're wanting to be just out on the outskirts of town, still be in a good school system, but still be within driving distance to be able to commute to Tuscaloosa or Northport area, then this would be an area that I would highly consider. Again, just like in Northside, Just like in Gordo, when you go out on the outskirts of town, you usually get more house for the money, usually less neighbors, less restrictions, less property taxes, but you give up some of those conveniences of having, 10 restaurants to pick from within 5 minutes and several grocery stores nearby. But if you want that country life, that's probably not that big a deal to you. So Sipsey Valley High School is West Tuscaloosa County. Really good elementary schools feed into that system as well, and that's still in Tuscaloosa County. But if we go out further to the west here, you'll see this little town called Gordo. Gordo is in Pickens County, not Tuscaloosa County. I drove out there this morning, and for me to get to the main intersection, which there's really only one, to get to the main intersection of Gordo back into Northport, it was like 24 minutes. So it is a 4-lane highway all the way out there, Highway 82. It's kind of hard to see it here on this Google Maps version, but you'll see just from looking at the map, even when we get into the actual city part, not a whole lot of neighborhoods. They do have a really good high school out there, Gordo High School, Gordo Elementary School. Baseball field is up here, football field is back here, and they are really proud of their little community. Some things that you're going to get in Gordo that you're not going to necessarily get in Sipsey Valley is you are going to have a grocery store out there. So you've got the Piggly Wiggly out here. Across the street, you've got the Dollar General. There's a Family Dollar store that also has a Dollar Tree combined with it. You've got over here, you got a post office. There's places where you can get your vehicle repaired. There's even a Subway right here. Subway is there. CVS Pharmacy is right there. There is even, a lot of people don't know this, there's a little hotel in Gordo. I've never stayed there, but Elvis Presley stayed there. When he did a concert in Tuscaloosa back in the day, they were looking for somewhere off the beaten path for Elvis to spend the night where people wouldn't be flooding the hotel. They chose to put him up at the Gordo Motel. So it's a good little area, and we're seeing more and more people from the Tuscaloosa area moving out to Gordo. You get just a little bit out on the outskirts of town, you start getting, houses way off the road, not a whole bunch of neighbors around them, 10 acres, 20 acres, 30 acres of land with them, and still within a short driving distance of Tuscaloosa. So if you're looking for small town feel, but you don't want to give up not having a grocery store nearby, you don't want to give up not having schools that are nearby, having a couple restaurants you can go to, Gordo would be one that I would consider. Okay, so north side is in the north, Sipsey Valley and Gordo is to the west. Now let's talk about south of Tuscaloosa. I want you to know about Moundville. Okay, Moundville is south of town. It's probably the closest driving distance of any of these that we're going to talk to you about today on this video. You can literally be in Moundville in 10 to 15 minutes, but it's a 4-lane highway. Actually, it's 6-lane for part of it now, all the way down there almost, and Moundville has a lot to offer for still being a small town and having that small town feel. So let me show you around Moundville. Again, from Bryant-Denny Stadium being the center of town, you will take the interstate outside of town, and instead of getting on 2059 to go east or west, you're just going to go through this main intersection here at Skyland Boulevard, where Lowe's is, where the movie theater, Academy Sports, Chick-fil-A, Outback Steakhouse. You'll just keep going south there, all the way down Highway 69. Again, this area is known as Hillcrest. A lot of new stuff in that area as well. You'll come down through there. Big Sandy is another. That's Tuscaloosa County. It's a very popular elementary school system right on the Tuscaloosa-Hale County line. But when you get down into Moundville, again, you're not in Tuscaloosa County anymore, but you're just outside of it at this point. So Moundville Archaeological Park, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a Native American park where some tribes that were living here built these big mounds, and you can walk on them, you can take pictures. There's festivals out there a couple times a year. But I think the great thing about Moundville is that you do have that small town feel, but you still have some stuff that you can take advantage of, some conveniences. So this one little intersection right here, there is a Jack's down there, you do have your Dollar General, there is a small grocery store down there now, there is a Mexican restaurant down there, and then when you get down here into the downtown area on Market Street, you've got Big Mike's Steakhouse, which people from all over go to Big Mike's. It's not just a Moundville thing. It's a nice little area. I think it's something that you should consider. There are different opinions on the schools down there. They probably aren't as good as Tuscaloosa County schools. Not as much money in Hale County as there is in Tuscaloosa County. But you'll see there are some neighborhoods down there. You'll see, just close to the high school right here, there's this one right here. You go a little bit further south, you're getting into Chadwick Place, which is more of like a garden home neighborhood. But there's not a ton of that. Okay, you get down here into the main part of downtown. There is a small public library, bank, a couple little stores down here that you can pick from. So you do have some stuff there, and then you're also not very far from the river. There are river homes, homes that are on the water, on the Black Warrior River in the Moundville area, and they're a lot cheaper than living on Lake Tuscaloosa if you're looking into that. But it's a good little up and coming town. It's probably never going to be super big, but there certainly is more and more going that way, more and more stuff popping up that way, and I think it will continue to be popular because you can get there. Let me just do the directions right here to just show you how far it is from the park there. 19 miles from the archaeological park all the way to Bryant-Denny Stadium, and it's a straight shot the whole way. So it definitely would be one that I would consider if I was looking to be on the outskirts of town. All right, so we talked about North Side in the north part of Tuscaloosa County. We talked about Sipsey Valley being in the west part of Tuscaloosa County, and then Gordo in Pickens County being a little bit further west. We talked about Moundville being to the south. Now let's talk about the east. Now, out on the east part of Tuscaloosa County, we also have the Mercedes plant, and that's one of the biggest employers in the area. So a lot of people have chosen to, instead of driving back and forth, have just chosen to live out closer to the Mercedes plant, or a lot of the suppliers who supply parts for the Mercedes-Benz factory also have shops out there. So there's more and more stuff coming up out that way. A couple areas I want to show you here on the computer. One is Vance and one is Brookwood. So let me show you a little bit about Vance and Brookwood. All right, starting again from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Let me zoom out, and now we're going to talk about the eastern part of Tuscaloosa County. So drive out here to Vance, and you got Brookwood up here closer to the river. You have the Mercedes plant out here. You kind of see it right here on the map. You can see this on the interstate as you're driving by. Maybe you've looked over and seen that. I believe it's exit number 89 is where you would get off to go to this Vance area. So you could get off the interstate right here. You could hit Highway 11, and then once you're on Highway 11, left or right, there are some neighborhoods out here. You can kind of see them, out in here. Briar Ridge is one, Logan Farms is another. So you can see there's a couple neighborhoods that have popped up. These things were booming before the big market crash in 2007, 2008. They have kind of come back, but there hasn't been as much new development out this way as what there previously was at one time. So if you work at the Mercedes plant, it might make sense to, instead of driving 30, 40 minutes back and forth, it might make sense to live out in this area. You can see, you get further down this Tangle Road. That's kind of a funny name. You get a lot more farmland, a lot more rural. a lot more property to pick from out that way. But you know, there is a little town hall area right here. You get over here close to this Vance Blockton Road. There is a Mexican restaurant right there. There is a Dollar General market right there, which is more like a grocery store, more like a full-fledged grocery store. But outside of that, there's just not a ton out that way. But you are so close to Tuscaloosa out here, you know, that there are places you can go to get that kind of stuff. Most of the people that work in Mercedes, I would say, have either chosen, you can kind of see it's kind of in between. So Tuscaloosa is over here, and then Birmingham is up this way. A lot of the folks that work at Mercedes have chosen to just either live in Tuscaloosa, Northport area, or live in the Birmingham market. But there are housing opportunities available out there in the east part of Tuscaloosa County. And then if you really want to go a little bit more country, but still have a little bit more to pick from, Brookwood is a little community, you know, kind of out on the eastern side of Tuscaloosa, not far from the river. You do have a couple restaurants to pick from. There is a little town park where they do, you know, baseball, softball. You know, Henry's Burger and Cream is owned by a friend of mine. Good spot to get a burger. You know, and there is, you know, again, we're big on Mexican food here. If you hadn't realized that, there is a Jack's out there now. You know, there are some stores out that way. And if you're looking to be out that way, maybe you want to have quick access to Birmingham. Maybe you need to fly out more commonly. And since we don't have commercial flights going out of Tuscaloosa, then the Brookwood area and the Vance area would be two areas that I would highly consider.